Hey guys, just got done watching the 2006 remake of Black Christmas, that's right, Black Xmas. And it stars a great cast. The director, Glenn Morgan, and of course today's high stars include Michelle Trachtenberg, Eurotrip, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so forth. Lacey Chabert, Mean Girls, Katie Cassidy, When a Stranger Calls, and Elizabeth Winstead, Death Proof. Black Christmas is a thrilling, blood-soaked screamfest, right? So basically, before I get started, this film is far superior. I enjoyed this film in a different way to this film, and I'll tell you why. So basically, Katie Cassidy's in it, and I haven't seen her since she was in Arrow, the TV series, which I'm going to start watching season 2 of tomorrow. And boy, she was terrible in this movie. Ugh, Michelle Trachtenberg makes up for it all with just her beauty. But none of the girls, to me, really made that much of a difference. So anyway, let me get on with the story, and then I'll tell you what happens, and I'll tell you what I think in the end. So, this is the Canadian Blu-ray. For some reason, it's not released in America. But this isn't a bilingual Blu-ray case. It's just all in English, so that's handy. And then you've got the Blu-ray inside with just your average Sony rubbish. You know, the full HD and all that stuff. So the film starts off with Claire, like just in the original one, getting killed, and she's thrown up in the attic, and she's got a bag over her, but it's not a clear bag, it's like a coloured bag, so you can't see her face. So I'm guessing that was so that they could just put a dummy there, basically, you know, like a dummy figure. So basically, someone's killing a couple of people in the sorority house. Obviously, it's like a sorority house with sorority girls, just like Black Christmas, and it's Christmas time, and basically someone's killing them. But it's not Billy. Billy's in a mental hospital, prison kind of place, and he kills Santa Claus and escapes. That's right, he kills a guy dressed up as Santa who's a bit of a pervert trying to get action. And then he carries him in the bag and throws him off. So who's the person killing the other girls in the thing? So basically, after that, you start hearing the story of what happened to Billy, which, to be honest with you, they could have done far better with. In the original film, they don't tell you anything about him, and he's got this big raised problem. He calls him, he's really creepy, and it makes the film really suspenseful. In this, they show him as a kid. He was born with yellow skin. So he looks like that character out of bloody Sin City. He's got yellow skin. The one Elijah Wood played as. So he looks like that. And basically he's denied and the mother hates him. And then her and her lover plan to kill the dad. And they kill the dad and they're burying him. And the son sees it. So she locks him in the attic. Then it shows years later, basically, her having sex with her partner, and then falling asleep, she goes up and has sex with her son. That's right, she goes in the attic, drops her clothes, and has sex with her son. And then 9 months later, she has a baby. And that baby is, I cannot remember the name. Angus? No. What was the name? Anyway. So she has the baby, and she has the baby, and she says, "Oh, this is my family now." And then it shows him coming down somehow from the loft and talking to the girl, and basically pulls her eyeball out, and then kills his mum and kills his stepdad, and his daughter ends up in a mental asylum. And Agnes, that's it. And basically, she ends up in like an asylum, and she's really young and pretty, just with an eye missing. And then you don't hear anything about her after that for a while. And Billy's basically people going around killing the girls, and it's a bit obvious. It's a bit obvious that it's him and Agnes. So it kind of annoyed me a bit because I think they could have left the Agnes story a little bit later. What would have been better is if one of the girls had been her with a fake eye and they hadn't realised, and she was one of the ones killing them. Like, for instance, it would have been something like Michelle Trachtenberg or something. And then you saw her and Billy kind of confront each other, because even though he was her dad, he pulled out a fucking eyeball. So, you know, there should have been that kind of conflict, but there wasn't. So another problem I had was Agnes, I'm sure her name was Agnes, looked looks older than bloody Billy, or the same age. He didn't look, you know what I mean? He wasn't like, oh, it was like he was younger than her looking, and Agnes was like a big burly bloke in a dress, you know. So it was a bit, I mean, some of the bits they did were pretty good, like him constantly looking through the eye hole bits, because in the original one, you see his eye at one scene looking through, which was really scary and creepy. In this, he does it so many times. It turns out he's like a pervert. He's got yellow skin. He can't die. The kills were really, really good. I enjoyed the kills. They were quite brutal. And let's face it, movies nowadays, we want brutal kills. Katie Cassidy and all the rest, nobody stood out. Nobody stood out at the beginning. And I was like, who's going to be the lead female in this? You know, because in the original one, you know you got Barb, Margaret Kidder, you know you've got Jess, you know you got Jess, Olivia Hussey as the yeah, I forgot, Elizabeth Olivia Hussey, and Olivia Hussey in the original one is very prominent as the lead. No one is in this movie. So you're like, is it Michelle Trachtenberg? Is it Katie Cassidy? Then it turns out that Katie Cassidy's the only one left, and you're like, oh, this girl cannot act. She's terrible. So then you're watching her running around going, ah, and trying to get away and beating these people, and at the end going, and you're like, oh my word. Billy was a lot more pathetic in this, in my view. He could barely walk. At the beginning, when he was out the thing, he was crawling everywhere. And what's with him crawling under the floorboards all the time, like, and his feet wiggling? It was really weird. I mean, I was like, what? So then afterwards, he can run after and walk after, killing everybody and stuff. And it's just like, the film is really funny and it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot more in the fact that I saw it as a parody of the original and like a more comical version and more bloody kills. But it didn't have the suspense or the kind of chilling feeling that the original one gives you. The original one kind of like when he calls and he's going and all this, it's scary. In this, it goes, she's my family now. When you're like, sounds like something from the Hills of Ice. You know, it's just like, yeah, I heard it before. But it's really funny. I find it funny. The kills are pretty good. I still think that the Agnes character should have been a surprise character at the end and been something like Michelle Trachtenberg, and it should have been kind of like he was looking for her and that he didn't know what one it was and that he was killing them off, and then at the end she confronted him instead of this kind of psychotic kind of sister daughter kind of thing, and then him and her working together, because that didn't make sense. He tore her bloody eye out. Why is she going to be all lovey-dovey with him? So, you know, it seemed a bit weird, and the fact that she was massive when she was a tiny little thing originally. I mean, don't get me wrong, she wasn't tiny, but she didn't look that big. I know she got older, but come on, that was like a big burly bloke. No, it's like my size. And what else can I say about this movie? Michelle Trachtenberg was lovely in it. The kills were pretty. Oh, and one thing I did like about this was in the original, Claire's dad is looking for her. In this, it's her sister. I kind of like that because that kept to the kind of female thing. Oh, and another thing, Miss. Oh, what's the name? Ooh, Miss Mac was played by Andrea Martin, who played Phil in the original, I believe, which I thought was really cool. There was a scene where she was scraping the wind mirror. No, sorry, the windscreen, and basically the girl gets killed inside, and all you see is the blood go, which I thought was quite interesting. So it was a good film. So what are my final thoughts on it? Black Xmas. My final thoughts are, if you want a film that you don't have to really think about and you don't really want to question yourself, because it's one of those films that you really will if you take it seriously, especially after watching the original one. Don't just take it as a standalone fun thing. It's, to be honest with you, there's a lot of different things in it that aren't in the original, which make it different. You know, if for instance in the original one, Billy had a daughter, it would have been probably worse because it would have been similar. Do you get what I'm saying? The fact that he's got yellow skin in this as well, like an alien, also makes it different. And the fact that you see him in this makes it different because you don't see him in the original one. And in the original one, it's a lot more creepier. So I recommend it if you want a bit of fun, if you want to look at some eye candy. Katie Cassidy is awful as always. Can't stand her, really dislike her. The only good thing she's in is Arrow, and that's because the other people in it, in my view, like Diggles. So yeah, plus I like the cool artwork. I think the cool artwork on this disc is great. So I recommend giving this a watch. This is definitely a three out of 5 stars, just because I see it as a parody of the original one. So it works out being funny and kind of entertaining, and there's a lot of silliness to it. So I highly recommend giving it a watch. And don't take it seriously, and don't compare it to the original one, because in my view it's like a comedy version of this one. It's not meant to be, but in my view it is. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you for my next review coming up probably in a few hours. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Billy!